As you can probably see, I've had a haircut recently. So I thought I would stick with this theme and do a video about haircuts. I'm going to talk a little bit about my hair and issues with my hair as well in a minute. But first, most autistics seem to hate going and having a haircut. And it's obvious to autistics why. Because hairdressers are bright, they are noisy, and then the hairdresser wants small talk with you, and that is just like more than one nightmare all rolled into one. Luckily, there are ways around it. You can obviously pick a time when the hairdresser is going to be quiet. Sometimes first thing in the morning, not as many people want appointments that early, or people are at work so they can't make appointments that early. So weekdays early tends to be a good one, or the last appointments of the day always tends to be a quiet time as well. So if you choose those times, it tends to be a bit quieter. But you can always speak to your hairdressers and ask them, what is the absolute quietest time? Is there any days where they tend to have periods of time where nobody seems to want to book? Book that time, you're going to be the only person there. There still will be obviously the problem of bright lights, and obviously when you're getting your hair cut, if you wear some in the sunglasses, you more than likely will have to take them off. But at least it will be quiet, you won't have all the hair dryers going and things like that in the background. The other option is mobile hairdressers. If you can find a decent, trustworthy mobile hairdresser, you know you're going to get the same person every time. It's in the comfort of your own home, so you can control noise and light and things like that, and you're not having to go out, travel or anything. So that is probably the better option. I have been going to the same hairdressers for about 6 years or so, maybe a little bit longer. For the majority of the time that I've lived in Derbyshire, I've gone to the same hairdressers. I don't always get the same hairdresser because it's a place where they seem to have a lot of revolving hairdressers. That's not a bad sign. It's because this particular company employ a lot of students in some of their salons. The particular salon I go to are all qualified hairdressers, but they tend to be newly qualified, so they stay there for a year or two and then move on. There are some regulars as well. I just have not gotten to know who the regulars are to ask for a particular one by name. Also, this salon does walk-ins only, so I don't have to stick to an appointment in case I just happen to wake up that day and not feel very well. I can just go on a day when I feel up to it and I've got time. But it is a bit of travel. It takes me on the fast bus about an hour, including getting from my house to the bus station. So obviously I have to be massively in the mood and have a big chunk of time set aside. I only tend to get my hair cut about once every 6 months. It grows really fast. If it didn't grow as fast, I'd probably only get it done once a year. I last had it done October last year, so it was getting quite long when I went to get it cut. Now, the problem is the hairdresser I ended up with has butchered my hair. This is not what I wanted. It's too long for starters. I can tell it's too long because it flicks out at the bottom when it's being cut to this length. I wanted it about 2 inches or so shorter, which is probably going to have to go anyway because I need to go and get it sorted out. Also, I tend to tuck at least one side behind because she has not cut it the same either side. So this side, she asked me if I wanted the layers cutting right to the front, and I said I wasn't too fussed because it doesn't really suit the shape of my face. So she cut it at this side, like the layers here, but not at this side. So I've got this like long bit here and then short bits here. So it just looks like I've got 2 different hairstyles, one on either side. She's not blended the layers in. She's attempted to cut 2 layers, but all I can kind of see is like a line here and a bit of a layer here, and then the ends. I had to tell her how to use razor scissors on the end to get a choppy look because I don't like bluntness. I like everything choppy, and she still left it blunt. She ended up actually using the razor and scissors to just thin it out. so it's really thin at the ends, and then of the layers, and then it's really thick at the bottom. So like when I took it back and things, I feel like I've got a mullet, that I look like I've got a mullet or something. It is just horrendous. Luckily it wasn't too expensive, but with the amount of time it's taken me to get there and back, plus obviously having to pay bus fares as well, it would have been cheaper if I'd have just gone to a hairdresser's here. But I just like this particular hairdresser's, and I've gone in every single time and asked for the same haircut. I've explained it in the exact same way. And it's always come out looking exactly the same, but this time it has just come out looking horrendous. Luckily I contacted them and they said that next available time for me to go and they will sort it out for me. But it's been like a couple of weeks now and I just have not had time. I've not been very well and things like that, so I haven't gone to sort it yet. Fingers crossed I'll be doing that this Saturday, because I just cannot, like, it's going to end up having to go shorter. God knows how short it's going to actually end up, because I don't want it ridiculously short, because that will not suit me. But at the end of the day, this just does not suit me at all. I can't get the kind of texture I like to get in it by like putting a bit of gel in and stuff. It still just keeps going flat because these layers at the top that she's attempted are just too thin. So I am ridiculously unhappy with it, and I didn't notice it at the time. This is obviously what some people will be thinking, well, why didn't you notice it at the time and say something? I said something twice to her because it wasn't what I asked for. I said to her she'd left the bottom blunt and I wanted it choppy, and she attempted to do that. There's also the fact of, obviously when I'm getting my hair cut, I have to take my glasses off, so I can't see it while she's doing it. So I couldn't see that she was butchering it while she was butchering it. It was only kind of afterwards when I put my glasses on. But she also kind of like zhuzhed up my hair and stuff, so some of the layers that are slightly further back fell forward, so it looked like the layers were all even and it looked like this was all even. And there's also the fact that it was freshly cut. Obviously my hair, like pretty much everyone else's, bounces up slightly, so it wasn't until I got home and it had kind of like rested a bit and all the rest of it that I noticed that, like, you know, it was just not the same length and things. And this side's bouncing up because it's actually been razored at the bottom, this side hasn't, so it's not bouncing up, so it's ridiculous. Also couldn't notice it as well because obviously bright lights, by the time I've been in there for half an hour, I cannot see straight. I start to get really bad tunnel vision, so I can't see properly under those bright lights. So even with my glasses on, it looked like it was all fine, what she was showing me. Fingers crossed I can get it sorted at least, but there is kind of no wonder why I lose trust in things so easily. I'm hoping that by the time I need a new haircut, I will have moved, so I don't need to go anywhere, because I do not want to go back there now. I've just lost all trust in it. It was a horrible experience, and I just will be filled with too much anxiety if I have to go back there to get it done after getting it rectified. And obviously because it's been a couple of weeks, it's been washed a few times, so I've tried to do what I can with it. I don't want to try and touch it with a pair of scissors myself because I might just make things worse. One of the reasons why I noticed that this was shorter at the front here as well is when I tie it back, a huge chunk of my hair falls out at this side, so I actually cannot tie my hair up at all. So when it's annoying me and it's in my face, I can't get it out of my face at all. I felt so horrible after having it done and getting home and seeing it. I cried for a good couple of hours solid, and I didn't even want to make a video. I didn't end up making a video last week because of it, because I just didn't want this haircut on a video, but I thought I'd try and use it to my advantage and make a video about how awful my haircut is at least. But that's enough of my rant about my hair. Hopefully I can put something out a little bit more positive next week, and hopefully this will be sorted so I look a lot better in next week's video. But that is it from me this week. I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.